Okay, so as I said, the general formula, you can use it for calculation. But there was like for every methods of measuring, like there will be some limitations, you know. So for that, we have an alternate method. That's all. But you can use the general formula to calculate price elasticity, income elasticity, gross, and even elasticity of supply. Okay. So today now we are going to see the like all the methods, and after that, like I will be giving some problems. You just work out, and if you have a doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So now, like measuring the price elasticity of demand. Is my screen visible for you people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So the very first one is the percentage method. So percentage method is the general formula which I gave it in the last class. Okay. So the general way of calculating it. So it can be called as a percentage method, or we call this as a proportionate method in any form, but this is a general form of calculating the elasticity value. So as you know, so this is the formula, the percentage change in quantity demand to that of percentage change in the prices. So to calculate that, dq by q is taken. So this dq is nothing but the changes in the quantity, and dp is the changes in the price. This is what I said in the last class. The same formula, the same method, like we can use it, and we can calculate. So mainly for us, we normally ignore a price elasticity which is equivalent to 0, and we ignore a price elasticity which is equivalent to infinity. Why? Because I said perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic doesn't happen for a normal commodity. Like it happens during certain situations, crisis, or it will happen for a very peculiar type of commodities only. So that we have seen in the last class. So now when you're saying, like you can see that elasticity will be of either of these type, like elasticity value greater than 1, which we call it as an elastic, relatively elastic, and an elasticity value less than 1, which we call it as a relatively inelastic, and elasticity value equivalent to 1, we call it as a unit elasticity. So that is what we are going to see now completely. So this is a general formula. So you can use this and you can calculate the elasticity value. So based on the elasticity value, you can say whether it is an elastic or an inelastic or an unit elasticity, all the things. Even elastic also, like we know, like it is less than 1, we call it as an elastic. So, for example, greater than 1, like we call it as elastic, and less than 1 as inelastic. But here also the values, like suppose if you are getting 9 as your value and 2 as your value, there are two different values, 2 and 9, but both indicates that like they are greater than 1, which means that the demand is elastic. But even though, like among these two, like if you make a comparison, 9 is greater and 2 is smaller. So the commodity which is having 9 as the elasticity, its price will be less, and compared to the one which is having 2 as the elasticity value. So these are the some of the things that we have to know in the elasticity concept. Okay. So like this is a calculation. So you can make a calculation. Like suppose the price of the commodity falls from rupees 5 to rupees 3, and the quantity demanded increases from 10 kg to 30 kg. So if this is a given problem, so if it is worked out with the solution, like you will be getting a value as -5. And again, while you are working with the price elasticity, you will be having a negative value only. You will be getting a negative value. Why? Because you know that it studies the relationship in a inverse way, like the price and quantity demanded are inversely related, or we call it as a negatively related. So always, like you will be getting a minus value only. You can use the minus value, but you have to consider this as greater than 1 only, like to see whether it is elastic or inelastic, ignore the sign, but normally have the sign. Why? Because in some cases that will be defining you, like how far they are related, like how far like highly elastic or inelastic, that you can see, like wherever it is needed, like you have to use it. But normally keep it in mind, for price elasticity you will be getting a negative value only. So all those things which is having a negative slope will be having a negative value. In the same way, cross elasticity, when you're calculating for complementary product, again you will be getting a negative value. That you have to keep it in mind. So this is how you have to calculate it. But again, there is a drawback for this equation. Okay. So here, as it has been said here, suppose the price of the commodity X falls from 5 to 3, and the demand will increase from 10 to 30, and then your elasticity value will be this. If the same thing, like if you are going to take it in an inverse order, okay, from 3 to 5, like increasing, or when the demand is again decreasing from again like from 30 to 10, like inversely, like if you're making a calculation, you will not be getting the same value. Okay, so the elasticity value will be different here. So like in some cases, like if you have to calculate in both the ways, what happens is that like it will be giving you two different answers, and from two different answers you will not be able to identify whether it is a like elastic or inelastic. Might be like here also it is one, actually here it is 5. So 5 means you have to say that it is a elastic demand. 1 means you have to say that it is a unitary elasticity. But the change is how is the same. The proportionate change is the same. But as it is the initial price is taken in a different way, like we are getting different values. So that is the drawback of this particular formula. Okay, so this price elasticity formula is having this drawback. So for that reason, what we will do is that instead of using this, we will be using this arc method. Okay, the third method. So arc method. So this is actually this arc method is a very good explanation. Like this is a very best example. Again, in online, like if you are referring, like if any problem, like if you want to refer it, and if you want to see a solution in any websites, like you will be seeing that all the economists, those who are calculating elasticity value, they will be using this arc method only. Okay, so this is a very popular method. This we cannot criticize it. Why? Because what they have taken is like this is a diagram, no? So this is a like BD is a downward sloping demand curve, and arc is this is PM. So according to the economists, like it means that like you will not be getting a particular point. Okay, why? Because demand curve will be a sloping curve, and it will be a curve. Actually, it is not a line. Actually, it will be a curve, which shows that there can be the rate of substitution happening in a different way. So it will not be a very straight line. It can be an arc. So arc will not be having a particular point. Arc will be having a point like this. Even like if you draw a line, and if you want to see the intersection point will not show exactly a particular point. Okay, so that will not be there in an arc. So based on that, they are defining. So if you take this as a PM position as the arc, which is intersecting, so this from this level to this level, there is a changes in the prices and changes in quantity. So for that reason, what they are saying is always like you should not calculate based on a particular point, but you have to make a comparison of the starting and the ending point. So you have to take PM as a consideration. So what they have given a formula, like finally what they are saying is instead of taking the initial price or the initial quantity, what you have to do it is like you have to add both the prices. Okay, so initial prices as well as what is the change in the prices, and initial quantity plus the changed quantity, the new quantity. You have to add both the things and then use the same formula, where you will be getting a value in whatever the sense you are making a calculation, whether you are making it as a increasing value or a decreasing value, whatever that you are taking, you will be getting a same answer. So the solution is that arc cannot be having a one particular point. So arc means there will be a very minute, like if you focus and if you see, like there will be a very minute value which shows the differences in the price and quantity. So always, like you have to take both the values. So you should not go with any one value. That is what this arc method is explaining. So from that point of view, what they have done is that instead of taking the initial price and the initial quantity, they have added both the prices and both the quantities, and they are making the calculation. So now here you can see whatever might be the movement, whether the movement is from P to M or from M to P, you can see both the type of calculation they have done, and the final answer is same. Okay, so likewise, you can use the formula. So always when you're calculating, please see that you use this formula, delta Q by delta P into P1 plus P2 divided by Q1 by Q2. This is the arc method, which is the best one. If not this one, you can generally have the normal method of calculating it. That is delta Q by Q, delta Q by delta P into P by Q. So here this P by Q, it means the initial price and the quantity. But this we are not using in all the places. Why? Because when you make a reverse calculation, it will be giving a false answer to you. Whereas elasticity is nothing but how far it is going to fluctuate. That is the concept now. So it can be taken like whether it is increasing from 2 to 5, or like you can say that from 5 to 2 it has been declined. So both should give us the proper value only. But by using this percentage method, you will be having a difference. That's why we say arc method is the best one. But if you use both of this, I will be giving mark. Don't worry. Why? Because like this is not going to, like, anyhow, what I'm going to ask is that from one angle only we will be asking you. So in that sense, you can go with either of the things. Like it is not going to give you a very vast differences in the answer. But please understand the logic behind these two methods. That is what I'm saying. Okay. So these are the two methods you can use it. And like apart from this two method, there is a point. There is a method called point method. So this we can say that it is a graphical representation. Again, the same formula only. The same formula will be used, but here they will be explaining it in a different way. So this is a general diagram that you can take it for the arc, like point method. So here in the point method, what we will be doing is this formula, this what to say, this delta Q by delta P into P by Q, the normal equation that is being put into, and they have formed a final equation which is which says that lower segment divided by the upper segment. Okay, so this is the point, you know. So this point they have taken, and how this changes as support, the same thing they have substituted, and they have come to a very simple formula which states that always lower segment divided by the upper segment will be giving you the exact value of elasticity. So here you can see, so if you are having a demand curve, and if you are having any point, from the point itself we can say whether it will be a the elastic, it will be an elastic or an inelastic concept. Okay. So if it is 45-degree angle, like if you are having a point, that we call it as a unit elasticity. And above this 45-degree, above, if it is going to be here, the elasticity value will be greater than 1, and here it will be less than 1. So elastic, and it is inelastic. And this is what the lower segment by the upper segment. So this is how we are calculating it. And if it is going to touch the y-axis, this we call it as an perfectly elastic. And here when it is going to touch the x-axis, we call it as a perfectly inelastic. That's all. So with the point alone, they have tried to explain it. So for that also they have taken the basic equation delta Q by delta P into P by Q. So what is delta Q? Delta Q is changes in quantity. So what is this? Delta changes in quantity is this BD, no? So that is what they have taken. So BD and they have sorry, this P they have taken, that is the confusion. Actually, this BD is taken. So likewise, they have simplified it and they have come to a conclusion of lower segment divided by the upper segment, which will be giving you the point value. Again, even no need to calculate the point and all. Like if you know where your demand is going to be, with the angle of it, we can say whether it is an elastic or an inelastic one. But exact values, it will be 0. Like exact values in some cases you will not be able to. So just calculate use the formula lower segment divided by the upper segment, it will be giving you the exact value also. So this is one method, but again we don't use this method as a very formal way of, why? Because ARC method is considered where it satisfies all the conditions and there is no criticisms. So these are the three methods, and apart from this, finally we have another method which we call it as a total outlay method. Total outlay means the expenses that we are going to make on, total expenditure that we are going to make on. So when there is a decline in the prices, how we are going to make our expenditure. So here you can see prices measured along the y-axis and quantity, like in the place of quantity demand, here they have taken the total expenditures of us, how much we are going to spend. When the price is declining, when our total expenses is increasing, that point we call it as a, that type of commodity will be having an elastic demand. So here the EP, the elastic price elasticity value will be greater than 1. And if the price, if it is declining, like here you can see that from this area to this, when it is declining, you can see the total expenses has increased from E to D. So this we call it as a commodity having an elastic demand. So here the value will be greater than 1. And from this point to this, if you see, this changes is like the total expenditure has not increased. Okay. We are not talking from the consumption. We are not talking whether we are demanding more or we are demanding less, but we are just talking from the expenditure point. If the expenses is going to be the same, then we call it for that commodity, we call the elasticity value as unit 1. And then here, from the moment from here to here, if you see, like when the price decreases, total expenditure also decreases, then here the elasticity value will be less than 1, which we call it as an inelastic demand. So this is what they have explained it from the total expenditure that we are making on. So the expenses that we are making on. But actually, again, like here, it means that in all these stages, you are increasing your demand. It is not that when the price is declining, you are declining your consumption. You are increasing your demand, but you are increasing it in such a way that the total expenses increases when it is when it is having an elastic character, and the total expenditure will be the same when it is having a unit elasticity character, and the expenses will be declining when like when it is having an inelastic character. That is the concept. So they have explained it with the total expenditure method. So here, like if you see, you should know the price and you should know the total expenses that they are making, that they are spending on. If you know that, it will be easy for you to make a calculation of elasticity value. But again, it is a complicated one. So instead of it having studying a direct relationship between the price and quantity demanded is very easy. So we just go with the percentage method or with the ARC method. And again, I'm telling you, percentage method is having a drawback. Why? Because like when you're calculating it in an inverse way, like you will not be getting a same elasticity value, which will be confusing you people. So normally, economists will use ARC method, which takes both the prices and added together, and they are calculated. So you can use these formulas to get the values. And again, the problem will be of a different uh, type. Okay, but how we are going to use these formulas and going to calculate the elasticity value, that is more important. So the measurement is over. So actually this slide I have given it already, it is there in VTop, but like if you work out now, it will be easy for you people to get the idea, as well as like if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So with that, instead of just checking there, I will be posting the question here. I want you people to work out now and give me an answer. And in the same way, like if you have a doubt, you can just ask me now itself. We will clarify it. Why? Because this is the last class, and after this we will not be meeting. So this is there for your cat. So I want you people to just work out these problems and give me the answer. And if you have a doubt, you can ask me now itself. Okay? Is that clear?